Hey everyone, Creatively Cara here, and my channel is all about taking you along on my creative journey with me. Today we're going to be setting up the month of February in my bullet journal, so grab your supplies like I have here and let's get started. It took me a little while to figure out what theme I wanted to do for February. I know it's really easy to just go with a love theme or like the purple pink colors, so I didn't want to necessarily maybe do hearts, so I decided that I would use the pink and purple colors. I have my Tombows here, and I used 815, 743, and the purple was 636. So those were the colors I used for the watercolor here. This is a technique that I really like using. Basically, you grab a plastic bag of some sort, and then you take your watercolor markers, so in this case my Tombows, you draw on the bag, and then you will put some water onto the paper, and then you basically transfer the color onto the paper with the bag and water, and you just kind of mix it around, kind of spread the color around, and you get this really cool looking watercolor effect. I did use a little bit of tape here because I wanted to have some clear lines so I could put my header in some white space. This was a technique I used in one of my March setups. It was kind of early on in my channel, so the audio quality is not super great, but if you're interested in checking it out, it was a bamboo panda theme, and I'll link to it in the cards and description box down below. I'm just doing a faux calligraphy technique here. It's really kind of my favorite way to do hand lettering just because you don't have to have a special brush pen to do anything. You just need a regular marker. I just got the Zebra mild liner brush pens. Thank you, mother-in-law, for Christmas because I have been waiting for these. I really love them, and I ended up using the gray one just to add a little bit of shadow to my header. I saw some cover pages that looked similar to what I'm doing here, and they had some florals and stuff going around it with the header in the middle. I thought it would be perfect for February, so I created two types of leaves. One's kind of filled in, and then one's empty with a line in it. And I also wanted to include a flower, so I just did a really simple one. It's not really a rose, but it's a nice dainty floral doodle that I think worked really well with this. I hope you enjoy it, but let me know in the comments below what you're thinking about doing for your theme in February. I'd love to hear what your guys' ideas are. I wanted to do a quote on the left side of the page, so I just did the same watercolor technique here. I am using this new, it's actually an embossing heat tool, but it works for kind of drying out watercolor as well. That's also something I got for Christmas too. So I'll link to all the items that I use in my video today in the description box down below if you're interested in checking any of those out. So here I'm just doing a quote. It's actually by Helen Keller, but I thought it was perfect because it talked about love and how a flower can relate to that, since my theme is kind of a floral theme. Now, I did spell Helen wrong, if you guys noticed that. I ended up putting two L's and there's technically only one, so just ignore that. I was gonna fix it, but I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it. Then I wanted to do a little bit of floral on this side as well, so I just kind of did a couple circle lines here and I added in the leaves. And I didn't do any flowers on the border here, but I decided to add in some flowers in the middle because I kind of had this like white space there, so I wanted to fill that in. And voila, there is my cover page and my quote page. So next up, you guessed it, we're gonna set up the monthly page. I went with just some boxes on this. I was very messy with it. I'm using my Pentel brush pen, so the lines are even kind of varied a little bit since it is a brush tip pen. But yeah, I was really messy with this. I just kind of went for it. And then I did get a little carried away here and was not paying attention, so I ended up making my line go down too far. but I just got out my whiteout and fixed it, no problem. I think the one thing I like about this new journal, I'm using a Vivid Scribbles journal, so it's kind of more of an unknown brand, but so far it's been pretty good. It's got really thick pages. I think it's 140 GSM, and it's white paper, so whiteout works really well on white paper, obviously. I was attempting first to kind of blend the Tombow markers together up by the tips and then write it down, but then I found I'll just like color a little pink, color a little purple, and then I used the water to kind of blend those together, and it just kind of created this really cool color effect inside the corner of each of these boxes. It almost gave an ombre effect too. I didn't really mean to do that, but there was kind of more pink on the top and then purple on the bottom, but either way, I think it looks great and I love how these little parts turned out. I think I wish I used the purple to write February out here. I might go back in and add some purple into that. I don't really know yet, but I wanted to do the, thick, tall letters with the cursive over it because I really love that as like a header style. So that's kind of what I did here, and I think the pink looks okay, but I feel like the purple would have blended better with this page. But just going back in and writing in the numbers, and I had the days of the week on the top as well. And I wanted to add the watercolor and floral design to the bottom of this page to fill that in. I didn't quite have enough color. I did start in the middle, but then I just added some more ink to the paper and was able to fill in the rest there. I also really love how this theme is turning out so vibrant. I did sort of a black and white gray theme for January. It was birch trees. If you haven't checked that out, it's a pretty cool one. I will link to it in the cards in the description down below, but there was no color, so which I love black and white at times, but I don't know. I think going from black and white to this like vibrant pink and purple is such a huge shift, and I'm loving it. It's definitely making me happy, and I'm excited for February to use these wonderful spreads. So again, just adding the florals to the bottom. I did a pattern because I wanted it to be kind of like equal. So I did, I would do one type of the leaf, a flower, the other type of the leaf, and then so on. So I didn't keep it random. I did have a rhyme and reason to all of that. And then I had some space on the right, so I just added a little bit of color there with water, and those are going to be my YouTube and Instagram trackers. I'm trying to get each social media to grow, so I'll be tracking what my start is and then what my end number is. Yeah, I was actually really excited this last week because I posted a video on Instagram, and it's the first time something of mine went like viral, so it was really cool to kind of see that. I made a gold foil cover on my bullet journal, and I thought I'd share that video on Instagram and, quite frankly, all the different social media. And it was trending on the hashtag bullet journal thing. And so, sorry, I'm just like geeking out because it was so exciting to me because I don't know, that's not happened to me yet. So if you have not seen that, I do have a YouTube video on it. I recorded the whole thing and kind of explained a little bit about it, but it's me using the foil quill pen, and it's a pretty cool tool. So I will link to that in the cards here, and you can check it out if you'd like. Next up, we have my notes page. I like to have one of these just in case I need to write down any random notes or grocery lists or what have you. So just again, keeping it pretty simple with some watercolor on top and bottom, same pattern, same header. The next page is going to be my trackers page. I have been combining kind of my mood tracker and habits and an energy tracker all in one. I did this last month and I really like how it turned out. So I wanted to be able to do that again this month. And basically I can kind of track how my mood goes and then what habits I was able to complete and then my energy. So I can just ultimately see everything all in one, which I think is really important because I think that they all truly affect each other. It's kind of not fun because I'm not doing any like super fun mood trackers because you can create some really cute things. But for me, I like, I think that people do have, can experience multiple emotions in one day. And, if I'm happy at one point and then, I just feel really stressed as well, like I want to be able to record that. And I feel like a simple like doodly mood tracker doesn't quite capture all of that. So I think I prefer to do my mood tracking in this way just because I'm really focused on mental health right now and making sure that I'm doing well in that area. The one downside to these pages is this setup takes forever. It's drawing a lot of lines, so I don't know, maybe next month I won't draw all the lines. I know there's different ways you can kind of go about this, so I might try something different next month. And then some watercolor on top for the header. You know, I love Tombows because this works really well. Just drawing it in and then adding some water, and it turns out beautifully, so it's perfect. So the next pages that we're going to do, I actually did not record me setting them up, especially the expense tracker, which is this one. It's just, again, a bunch of lines, so it's nothing super exciting, but I have my categories and then I, total things up each week. But I'm able to record every expense that I send. These are going to be my variable expenses, so I can track the date, vendor, the category, and the amount. And then at the end of each week, I kind of tally those up and put them in the box above. I've been using this tracker. I used it a little bit last year, and I tried it this year, and it worked really well. I'm also trying a bill tracker this month, so it's going to be more of those fixed expenses, and I'll be able to I haven't filled it in all the way yet, but I'll be able to track the different fixed expenses that I have so I know when they're coming out of my bank account each month. And then a goals page that I haven't finished yet either. I plan to fill that out. I might make a video on that yet. I don't know. I'm going to be focusing on trying to do some SMART goals, so I really want to try and find some sort of goal setting that works for me. So I might end up sharing more about those in the future here. Last but not least, we have my weekly page, and again, here's some more watercolor. I've seen lots of different ideas with this, and ultimately I wanted to kind of have like this blank spot in the middle and then watercolor on the sides, and then the days of the week I'll be writing on each of the sides here. After I made this, I was like, well, what am I going to put in the middle now? It looked kind of weird. So I guess I didn't think that one ahead fully. But I decided to bring out the leaves again. This one I just kind of alternated. I actually did a lot more black leaves than I did with just kind of the empty leaves, but I think it turned out really well. After I did that, like, it kind of helped complete the white compared to the watercolor, but I still wanted to have something in the center. So what I decided to do was draw my flowers, then kind of extending off of those vines into the center. And I think that really helped fill in that white space and was exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, when you're creating spreads like this, I mean, sometimes I have an idea when I'm going into it. Other times I start going and I'm like, what was I gonna do? This doesn't look right. I don't know. What do I do with this space? So sometimes it's about creating things up on the spot. So yeah, usually my inspiration comes from multiple different angles. So here is a flip through of my February setup. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. I'd love to have you join me on this creative journey. Until next time, bye-bye.